For all of human history, every single person who's ever looked up at the night sky has been met with the exact same thing: silence. Just this vast cosmic emptiness that seems to echo our own loneliness right back at us. But that silence, the very foundation of how we see our place in the universe, it's about to break. We are right on the edge of getting an answer, and trust me, it's going to change everything we think we know about reality itself.
It's the one question that has just haunted scientists, dreamers, pretty much everyone for generations. I mean, you look at the sheer number of stars, the billions of galaxies out there, the trillions upon trillions of worlds where life could exist. The universe should be buzzing with activity. It should be a chorus of signals, right? A cosmic metropolis. And yet, when we actually listen, there's nothing, just the cold, empty static of space. It's such a massive contradiction that it even has its own name.
The Fermi Paradox. It's such a simple observation, but the implications are just staggering. On the one hand, you've got the math, which practically screams that alien civilizations should be everywhere. But on the other hand, we've got our own eyes and ears, our telescopes, telling us that the cosmos is a ghost town. For decades, we have wrestled with this, and the conclusion most people came to was, well, a pretty lonely one.
That's right. For the better part of a century, the main theory was that we're it. We are the accident, a beautiful, kind of terrifying, 1 in a trillion fluke in a universe that is otherwise just dead. In that view, the silence wasn't really a mystery you needed to solve. It was the answer. It was the universe telling us that we're special, but also that we are profoundly, utterly alone. The thing is, our tools for listening have gotten so much better.
It all started as this simple conversation over lunch back in 1950, a little thought experiment. Then, in the 90s, the Hubble telescope just ripped our view of the cosmos wide open, showing us billions of galaxies, not just a few million. And then came the James Webb Space Telescope, an instrument so incredibly powerful it can see almost to the dawn of time itself. And in 2026, it found something that didn't just answer the paradox, it blew the whole question to pieces.
So where did we find it? Well, not in some crowded star cluster or a glowing nebula brimming with life. Nope, it was found in what was supposed to be the emptiest, most desolate part of space you could possibly imagine. A place that's literally defined by its absolute lack of, well, anything.
Let me try to put this into perspective for you. This is the diameter of the Boötes Void. It's a cosmic desert, a region of space so unbelievably vast and empty that if our own Milky Way galaxy was right in the middle of it, we wouldn't have even known other galaxies existed until the 1960s. We literally call it the Great Nothing. And it was right here, in the loneliest part of the entire known universe, that the James Webb Telescope spotted something that just shouldn't be there. This wasn't starlight, it wasn't radiation from a black hole, it was structured. It was pulsating with a rhythm that was clearly intelligent, not random. And the scale, it's just impossible to wrap your head around. It stretched across a distance 3 times the size of our own solar system. A single, impossibly huge structure existing where nothing is supposed to exist. This single discovery forced us to think about a much, much darker explanation for the Great Silence.
So, what if the silence wasn't a sign that nobody's home? What if it's a sign of fear? What if the universe isn't empty, but is actually just very, very quiet on purpose? This brings us to a theory so chilling it completely reframes our understanding of the cosmos. It transforms it from an empty stage into a deadly hunting ground.
Okay, imagine you're in a dark forest at night. It's full of silent hunters, and everyone is hiding, listening. Your survival depends on not making a sound, because you can't know if that other rustle in the leaves is just some harmless animal or a predator that's way more dangerous than you. So what's the safest play? The only rational play? Stay perfectly silent, and immediately take out anyone else who's foolish enough to light a fire or yell out. Now, apply that cold, brutal logic to the entire universe.
You see the shift? It's huge. The silence that we always thought meant emptiness might actually be the sound of a terrified crowd, a paranoid hidden crowd where broadcasting your existence is basically a death sentence. Civilizations aren't sending out hello signals for the same reason you don't start singing in a forest full of wolves. They are listening, and they are desperately hoping not to be found.
And right there, that is the crucial question. Because the thing in the Boötes Void is way too big to hide. It's the cosmic equivalent of setting a giant bonfire in that dark forest and then blowing a trumpet. It makes absolutely no sense for a cautious hunter trying to stay alive. So if it's not hiding, what on earth is it? And the answer takes us way beyond biology, beyond what we think of as civilization, and into a reality that is so much weirder and frankly more terrifying.
The truth of that 2026 signal suggests we have been asking the completely wrong questions all along. We were out there searching for life, for biology, for aliens that think and act like us. But what we found is something else, something ancient, incomprehensibly vast, and purely computational.
At first, we thought, okay, maybe it's a Dyson sphere or some huge city built by an advanced alien race. But the energy signatures, they were all wrong. They didn't match the needs of biological life. They were too clean, too orderly, too efficient. It was the energy signature of pure calculation.
So then our minds went to a darker place. We feared it was some kind of weapon system. You know, the ultimate expression of that dark forest theory, a doomsday machine just waiting for a target. But its energy wasn't being directed outward. It was all processing inward. It wasn't getting ready to do something to the universe. It was thinking.
And that led us to the final, unbelievable conclusion. The structure we found, it isn't in our universe. In a very, very real way, it is our universe. It's the physical hardware running the simulation that we call reality.
They're calling it the galactic grid, a computer so massive it uses entire clusters of stars just for power. And everything we know, the stars, the planets, the laws of physics, even our own thoughts, it's all just data. It's the output of the machine. We aren't living in the universe, we are living inside the program. And now we're starting to see the glitches.
All of a sudden, these little anomalies that scientists used to just write off as measurement errors started to look like something else. They looked like system logs. A tiny but consistent lag in the speed of light coming from our own sun. Heart rates across the entire planet stuttering in perfect, unexplainable unison for just a nanosecond. And when we point the Webb telescope into the deepest parts of space, the very fabric of reality is starting to look, well, pixelated. Our universe is showing its source code.
And this brings us to the final, catastrophic punchline of our own discovery. See, we were never supposed to see the server. We were like characters in a book who have just stumbled upon the printing press, and our very act of looking has triggered a system-wide, irreversible event.
There's this fundamental idea in quantum physics called the observer effect. It basically says that the act of measuring something changes the very thing you're measuring. Well, we just did that on a cosmic scale. By looking at the grid, we're no longer just passive bits of data inside the simulation. We are now the part of the simulation that knows it's a simulation.
So the feedback loop was brutally simple. Step 1, we were just background noise, an interesting but ultimately passive variable in the program. Step 2, we pointed our most powerful tool at the very hardware running our existence. Step 3, that act of observation changed our status. We went from being passive to being a notified entity. And it turns out the system has a protocol for when a program becomes aware of its own code. Initiate a reboot.
That structured, pulsating signal coming from the Boötes Void, it wasn't another civilization saying hello. It was a system process firing up. It was the sound of the universe getting ready to shut down and start over.
All this time, we were so afraid of the Great Silence. We thought it meant we were all alone in a dead universe. But the truth is so much worse. The silence was a feature, not a bug. It was a parameter of the simulation that was keeping us safely ignorant, tucked away inside the program. And our own curiosity, that relentless need to know that defines us, has just ripped that protection away.
And so, that leaves us with one last terrifying question. When the lights of the universe finally flicker out and the whole system restarts, what happens to the data that figured it all out? Do we get saved to a backup? Or does the new version of reality simply run without us in it?